ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
We're ready to go with our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Welcome into this Thursday, June 5th edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So you've got the text line. We are ready to go. I got a lot to get into today with you. I want to discuss really what we can expect later on this week. We have got the Board of Governors meeting coming up, and of course that means the athletic department has its part. We're going to talk about that, kind of go over some of the items on that list. And if you look at it on the surface, I mean, there are some interesting things to talk about with that. So we'll get into all of that with you, and we'll do that again with our text line at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So that is our number to be a part of the show here today. But the one thing that really, the first thing that stands out when you look at the Board of Governors agenda and the athletic department agenda, of course, there's going to be a contract deal, and it highlights head basketball coach. And so when you see that, you're thinking, okay, what's going on here? If you remember Coach Jackson, when he was hired, it was a short-term deal. And I think this is going to rectify a couple of things, make sure that this is a longer-term deal. You don't want to go into a season with essentially a lame duck. Seriously, if we've learned anything, is make sure that you have your coaches under contract. I think we've learned that lesson, have we not? So I think we're going to see in the Board of Governors meeting here in a few days, we're going to see details come out. It's going to be a contract extension for Coach Jackson. I'm solid on that. I'm pretty sure. I've talked to a couple of people that have a little bit more insight, a little bit more direct understanding, and nothing to worry about there. So that's the first thing that stood out when I was looking at the athletic committee agenda. So you got that. It reads, this is a recommended resolution. Resolved that the athletic committee hereby grants its express consent to the president for the terms and conditions outlined for the position of head men's basketball coach. All is well there. So that's the first thing that popped out, and we'll talk about it with you. Also, there's a few items on the agenda that we can look at. You got some of the standard stuff as far as the academic success. You have final Sun Belt standings and all sports standings in the Commissioner's Cup. Marshall finished 7th. Very respectable. Texas State won the Commissioner's Cup. Men's sports standings, Marshall finished 5th. Women's sports standings, Marshall finished 10th. So there's some work to do. So it highlights a few things. Now, there also were some violations that are going to be reported on, and I'd love to get more details on this. That portion of the agenda reads, since January 1st, 2025, Marshall has self-reported 3 secondary Level 3 violations. They include minor recruiting and eligibility violations. Also, some waivers have been filed. But if you look at some of those violations, here's what the violation summary reads for an incident involving Florida Gulf Coast University. This is on April 25th. Improper certification is the violation summary. Competition and receipt of benefits while ineligible or not certified. So the penalty summary, 2 years probation, reduction of visit and off-campus recruiting. There's a fine, vacation of team and individual records, show cause order for coach, Marshall's process, certification meetings with coaching staff, sports AD, academic staff, compliance, registrar. Basically, everybody's got to get your ducks in a row here. So there's that. And then there was a incident, University of Kentucky. This goes back to December 18, 2024, and the summary sheet reads, head swimming and diving coach violated head coach responsibility and practice rules when he and coaching staff directed student athletes to participate in countable athletically related activities beyond what is allowed by NCAA rules. Penalty summary, 3-year show cause order for head coach, fines, Marshall's process in this, rule education, which is related to accountable activity legislation, use of teamwork compliance playing and practice season monitoring software which requires coach to input practice hours into system and student athletes in compliance to review and approve submission. And then the other one, which piqued my interest, go back to October 3rd, 2024. This one's titled Arizona State University, the violation summary. And I'd love to get all the details on this one. So we'll be watching a little bit more when the Board of Governors meeting comes up. Violation summary here. Football coaches participated in a program-wide effort to engage in impermissible recruiting activities during the COVID-19 dead period, including official visits and entertainment during the dead period. Penalty summary, 8 years, show cause order for assistant coach, and show cause order for other coaches, 4 years of probation and bowl game ban, fines, reduction in allowable recruiting opportunities and scholarships. So here's the Marshall process. When you look at this, all official visits must be logged into software approved by a compliance officer or a compliance office. The official visit flights must be approved by compliance office. Expense reimbursements related to visit and recruiting activity are reviewed and approved by the compliance office. So those were a couple of the things that really stood out to me when I looked at the agenda today. And again, this coming up, this is the Board of Governors agenda. This is the athletic committee meeting, and that's going to be 10 a.m. on June 11th. There are a few other things that I'm curious about and I'm a little more excited about. First of all, we know about pretty much the facility upgrades. You've got the upgrade to the Shoey. You've got the golf facility. You also have what's happening at the Cam Henderson Center, which I would love to know a little bit more detail about. And so hopefully we'll get sort of an update on that. That's going to be part of the capital projects update. And there's also some budgetary issues here, so we can dig into this. If you're into that minutia, we'll talk about it. And the text line to be a part of the show today is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Still going to discuss a little bit of the NCAA framework, the NCAA House settlement. That's going to be a part of this. July 1st, 2025, begin revenue sharing and roster limits and permissive standards. So there's going to be some roster limits. There's going to be high scrutiny on scholarship protections, international student athletes, and direct NIL. You've got a lot that you can get into here with some of these changes that are coming to college athletics. But the one thing I'm sure a lot of people are interested in, the budget update, and that's where, of course, the bloodline of the Thundering Herd comes. I mean, that's the blood that really funds what we have here. So here's the fiscal year 25 budget, operating revenues. So the budget operating revenues, 37 million. I definitely did not write that down right. 37,787,552. This is why I am in radio and not an accountant. You got to carry that decimal point over. So budget, 37,787,552. The as of 3/31, the fiscal year 25 actuals, 28,000. Again, $28,176,195. Got to carry my decimal points over. Okay, leaving myself a note. Carry decimal point over, but you get the idea here. So, what's the budget right now? As of 3/31, the actual budget. Actuals versus budget. You're in the hole a little bit here. $9,611,357 is what this is reading, and according to the numbers here, you've got a football bowl revenue number that you're in the hole for there. So that's a big number. The numbers are again through 3/31. So let's not necessarily jump the gun just yet. And I'm going to be interested to see where we're at here. Some of the other items, budget update, operating expense analysis. There's some other items here as well. So if you're into this kind of thing, the report's available now, and you're going to be able to watch the meeting as much as you possibly can. And there's going to be an internal audit review, ticket office procedures, department cash handling training, reduce impress fund to support cashless operation. review investment options for disputed transactions, review physical safety improvements for athletic ticket office. There's a whole bunch going on right now. So I am curious about a lot of this. We're going to find out more about this, and that's the meeting coming up this week. Again, the item that probably interested me first and foremost was you want to see what's happening with the contract. And again, the big thing here is you want to get all of your ducks in a row. You want to make sure that your basketball coach has a contract. You want to put that into perspective. So we'll get into it with you. If those of you that like this sort of thing, we can break it down with you. We can discuss it a little bit. What do you think? You've looked the report over. You probably have your own thoughts or ideas here. And we've got some really intelligent people that are out there. So, I would love to get your feedback. We'll do that. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Of course, obviously, the budget is the lifeblood of the organization. You got to get that in a situation where you're better off. And so I expect Marshall and I think when you get a new athletic director, some of that's going to be addressed as well. Anecdotally, you want someone who has a strong business background, someone who has a understanding. Athletic department is going to have to be run more as a business, and it's not to say that it hasn't been, but it's going to have to be run as a business, a financial organization here. You're going to have to find revenue, find where you can not cut yourself to the bone, grow your revenues. There's going to have to be an examination of a lot of this when you have a new athletic director come in, because to hit the ground running, you're going to have to get a handle on, okay, what is the shape of the athletic department? What can be improved? What is draining? What can be bolstered? What can we do? And where are those opportunities? How are we going to fund all of this? How are we going to be competitive? You don't want to get into a situation where, okay, we're going to run this like a business, so that means we're going to make sure that we are lean as possible and we're fiscally sound, but we're not really competitive as an athletic department, but we're fiscally sound. Hey, we're making money. We're making money. You don't want to be like the Bengals for years ago here before, Joe Burrow. You want to be an organization that can manage your money, be competitive in your sports, and there's a balance there. And again, I am not a financial analyst. I am not a money planner. I am not an accountant. I'm not a banker. I'm the guy that looks at this from the outside, sometimes from the inside, looks at this, and there are some things and questions that I have as far as how can you make this better? Where's this money coming from? How do you improve upon your resources? Can you do better with more? Can you do well with less? What's not working? All of that. And of course, we're going to get some answers coming up here with the meeting, and it's going to be in a few days. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Life is full of twists and turns. Make sure you're protected with Partners Insurance and Financial Services. From home and auto to life and business insurance, we're here to help you plan, protect, and prosper. Our experienced team works with top providers to find the coverage that fits your life and your budget. And when it comes to your financial future, we're right there with you every step of the way. Partners Insurance and Financial Services, your partner in peace of mind. Call or visit us online today. Let's build your future together. Search Partners Insurance and Financial Services.
Big flavors, big savings, and top-notch quality only at Food Fair. We're bringing you the brands you love, plus exciting new exclusives. Try Springer Mountain Farms chicken, humanely raised and antibiotic-free. Stock up on Food Club for quality meals at a great value. Crush cravings with Craven flavor snacks, pizzas, and sweet treats. From family dinners to late-night snacks, Food Fair has you covered without breaking the bank. Visit foodfairmarkets.com today. Food Fair, delightfully local, deliciously fresh.
Do you have $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 in debt? Then listen to this. You may not be required to pay it all back.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
Whether it's credit card, medical, or personal loan debt, National Debt Relief can help significantly reduce what you owe. In fact, debt relief payments can be 50% less than your monthly credit card payments. That's right, half as much as you're paying now.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
More than 550,000 Americans have used National Debt Relief to reduce their debt. Call 800-885-5555 to see if you qualify to settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's 800-885-5555. 800-885-5555.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Thursday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got baseball action and basketball action tonight to tell you about. The Pirates yesterday got the win over the Astros 3-0. Final game of the series tonight. 6:15 is going to be our airtime from PNC Park. We'll have that right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And we'll have the NBA Finals, Game 1, coming up tonight on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. As the finals get underway, Indiana taking on Oklahoma City. It pains me to say this, I don't care either way, but I'm taking Oklahoma City in the series. So I'll say 6. 6 for Oklahoma City. Last night, Stanley Cup, if you weren't watching, you missed a good game. Edmonton, in overtime, beat Florida 4-3. Game 2 is Friday night. That's going to be a 8 o'clock face-off. We'll have that as well on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. But that was a fun game to watch last night. The Oilers, the Panthers, back and forth, overtime. You got overtime game 1. I'm hoping all games are like that. But this might go 7. I hope it goes 7. It might go 4. I don't know. Both teams look good. But I thought Edmonton actually had a little bit more get up in their step. Maybe that's because Florida had to fly into Edmonton. It's not exactly the easiest place to get to in Canada. So game 1, overtime winner for Edmonton. Game 2 coming up Friday. We've got it for you again on our sister station. And that's Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. And then there's baseball action opening up tonight for the Tri-State Coal Cats. Cats are on the road tonight. They will play 3 games in Tennessee and Elizabethton. That starts today. The home opener for the Coal Cats is coming up on Monday, 7 o'clock at Jack Cook Field. The Cats will host Pulaski, and you can watch the road games. Now, it's not the same as having home announcers, I get it, but you can watch the road games. You head over to the website for the Tri-State Coal Cats, and you can watch those games. The cool thing about the Appalachian League is every game has got to be video streamed. So home games, road games, every game, you got to have those games available to watch. And so you can follow along, keep an eye on the Cats while they're on the road, and then we'll all see you Monday night, 7 o'clock at Jack Cook Field. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. The big news probably nationally today as far as what we're concerned about is the bowl games. Everything's getting settled. And the Sun Belt and ESPN announced the primary bowl season slate for the Sun Belt. Now, again, this isn't going to be locked because if you have more teams than you have bowl games, and then you have teams that can't make their obligation or conferences, then it could open up a little bit more. So, bowl season for the Sun Belt, you've got several opportunities. You've got 5 opportunities. You've got the Veterans Bowl on December 16th. That's a Tuesday. And that's going to be a late one, 9 p.m. on ESPN. Oh, yeah, because after all, Tuesday night bowl game at 9 p.m. Who's excited? Raise your hand. I'm not. And then you have Wednesday, December 17th. You have the Cure Bowl at 5 o'clock. That's on ESPN. And then the 68 Ventures Bowl at 8:30 p.m. on a Wednesday. And again, Wednesday, December 17th. Some people might be taking holiday. Some people might not be. Really can't plan because these bowls, you can't plan a month out and go, oh, okay, hey, we're going to this bowl. Maybe we can take some vacation time here and go. You save some up. The Myrtle Beach Bowl will be Friday, December 19th at 12 p.m. So a Friday noon game, December 19th, Myrtle Beach Bowl going to be on ESPN. And then Tuesday, December 23rd, the New Orleans Bowl. That is a 5:30 p.m. contest on ESPN. And that is Tuesday, December 23rd. The good news is initially is that the bowl games the conference has, nobody's playing on Christmas. That's the good news because travel is going to be nuts around that time, to be fair. A lot of people might like that. There are a lot of people that do not like that. If you look at the bowl planning here, and of course there's a lot of games. There are several games that, we start with the Cricket Celebration Bowl, December 13th. And then the LA Bowl, which is hosted by Gronk, by the way, is December 13th as well at 9 p.m. Hosted by Gronk because these bowls are so prestigious. I mean, seriously, let's not hide it. You know how I feel. Too many of these things. Absolutely too many of these things. I'm okay with most of these, but still, you have too many. But the LA Bowl hosted by Gronk, hey, that's the trophy. Hey, we are the winners of the LA Bowl hosted by Gronk, and hold that trophy up. At least some of the bowls realize the absurdity of the bowls, and so you have fun games. You have the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which, by the way, recognizes the absurdity of this, and so I'm all for it. And then you have the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop on the CW Network on December 27th. If you could pick a bowl you could go to, period, would you pick the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl? Would you pick the Verbo Fiesta Bowl? Would you pick, I don't know, I'll exclude the College Football Playoff National Championship, but you got the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, you got the Capital One Orange Bowl, you got the Rose Bowl, you got the All-State Sugar Bowl. Yeah, these are the big ones. You got the semifinal games I mentioned, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. If you could pick a bowl outside of the big ones just to go to, it doesn't matter the opponent, which one would you want to go to? I'm thinking the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop on December 27th, is the bowl I'm picking. But I'm also, if I'm making a short list, I'm making the list with that, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. That's on my short list right now. Probably the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, and maybe, just maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go to El Paso, Texas, but you got the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. These bowls seem to get it a little bit more. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm all in on the Duke's Mayo fetish that people are. I'm not eating mayo, just mayo. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But how many of you would absolutely, and don't lie to me, you might not do the mayo thing, but you would do the gin and juice by Dre and Snoop thing? I think you would. Or you get the Pop-Tarts. Absolutely. You get the Pop-Tarts. If you're ranking this, though, I think gin and juice 1, Pop-Tarts 2, mayo 3, and then Cheez-Its possibly 4, and then, some Tony the Tiger action for 5. Because after all, the flakes are great, I hear. Text line 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can be a part of the program here as well. Texter says, Paul, I agree. I want the Snoop Dogg Bowl. Absolutely. I appreciate that. I want the Snoop Dogg Bowl. If Marshall would end up in the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, I would be all for that. Because after all, that game has a lot more swag than the LA Bowl. I like Gronk, but the LA Bowl hosted by Gronk. Okay, Gronk, you're a great guy. I like Gronk. That's like one step above like saying the bowl was hosted by Pat McAfee. Like him, I just, the prestige factor here is just, it leaves me wanting. Whereas the immortal icon that is Snoop Dogg and Dre, because, it's the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl and it's presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop. That's iconic right there. More coming up on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
The Greenup County Public Library is packed full of events for this month that you won't want to miss. The Flatwoods branch will host a father-daughter dance Saturday, June 14th at 6:30 p.m. Don't miss Dinner and a Movie at the Greenup branch Friday, June 20th at 6 p.m. showing Paddington in Peru. Girls Night Out at the McKell branch is Thursday, June 26th at 6 p.m. showing the movie Here. For complete details on these and more great events, check out the Greenup County Public Library Facebook page or go to the website at greenuplib.org.
What a long, strange trip it's been. The Spirit of the Dead rolls into Huntington this Friday at Mount West 9th Street Live. Presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, June 6th, it's Cardinal Roofing Night, and it's 9th Street is Dead with John Ingram's Dead Center celebrating the music of the Grateful Dead on the Marshall OBGYN stage. Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Food and drinks in the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, Summit Beer Station, and more. Join us next Friday, June 13th for Massing. And don't miss the local Honeys 9th Street Live debut on June 20th. The Thundering Herd Rally is coming up Friday, August 15th. 9th Street Live, driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Happening every Friday night through Labor Day on 9th Street between 3rd and 4th Avenues in downtown Huntington. Proudly sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, the Marshall Health Arena, and Kinder Communications. Don't miss this Friday. 9th Street is dead, and only at Mount West 9th Street Live.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. That's Hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-2013. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-2013. That's 800-444-2013 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
Listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Thursday edition of the show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of it. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's go to the text line. First up, texter says, hey, way too many bowls for sure. We've been talking about bowls if you just joined us. Way too many bowls for sure, but Mayo Bowl is close and could be fun versus the team up north. Also, just ordered my Georgia tickets. Get everyone to buy out our allotment and hope the band can make it. Need a good showing in Athens. Absolutely. Appreciate the text. Let me hit that first. I do think there are too many bowls. It doesn't feel like a reward to me anymore. It feels like if you don't get a bowl, your program is in serious trouble because there are so many bowls. If you're one of the schools that can't qualify for a bowl, what does that say about your program? And we're talking about teams. You have to be you have to have 6 wins, 6-6. You're 6-6. You're going to a bowl. I get it. That's an opportunity for you to get better. But at this point, we've seen where players will excuse themselves from the bowl, do not want to play in the bowl. They will, if they're seniors, they might, declare for the NFL draft, might hit the transfer portal. I'm not going to commit to the bowl. I'm going to go in the transfer portal because I'm looking for a better opportunity. So I'm just going to hold myself out for the bowl. The bowls don't have that much value. The playoff has a little bit more value, but the bowls as a whole are truly devalued. And it might be fun if you get the right matchup. And I see what you're saying. The Mayo Bowl, and that would be different for the Thundering Herd. And again, you can't really, it's in Charlotte. How many Herd fans are going to hit to Charlotte? All of them. How many Herd fans are in Charlotte? A lot of them. So location's important as well. For example, you wouldn't necessarily go to Arizona, but just the fact that it's the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl and it's presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop, I should get some residuals here. That makes that bowl all of a sudden, the Arizona Bowl, that just all of a sudden, that screams, that's an event. I just want to be there. That's an event. And of course, you've got your traditional bowls, the Peach Bowl, and Chick-fil-A is a long-standing sponsor, and that bowl really means something. The Fiesta Bowl, Verbo, it's a long-standing bowl. Same with the Sugar, the Rose, the Orange, the Cotton. All these games, of course, part of the college football playoff system. And then, of course, you have the college football championship, and that should be independent of everything else. Now, it's going to be at the same location, the Orange Bowl, and that makes sense. You want to keep it in the system here. But these games, they matter a little bit more. There's something to be said for some of the other games. The Duke's Mayo Bowl has rocketed up. I'm not saying it's the most prestigious bowl, but it has some excitement to it. The Pop-Tarts Bowl, on the strength of what Pop-Tarts has done branding-wise, that's really rocketed as far as I'm concerned. I have nothing for the Pinstripe Bowl, the Fenway Bowl. The Rate Bowl, I have nothing there for that. The Serve Pro First Responders Bowl, that's a game in Dallas. I'm really not feeling that. The Game Above Sports Bowl. The Hawaii Bowl, that's just kind of a different beast altogether. I thought the Frisco Bowl, the folks at Scooter's Coffee are doing something really nice with that, but still, that's one of those, maybe one of the better of the early games. The Myrtle Beach Bowl is just the Myrtle Beach Bowl. The location sort of serves the lure there. And like the Texas Bowl, the Kinder's Texas Bowl. Okay. Some games have a little bit more history. Some games have a little bit more excitement. Snoop Dogg has attached himself to the Arizona Bowl, so all of a sudden, that's got a little bit more swag to it. And to your point, yes, I hope everyone that wants to go to Georgia game can get tickets. And I hope that it means it's going to be a sellout for Marshall fans, and maybe Marshall fans can hit the secondary market, those that can't get tickets through the athletic department. I would love to see the band go as well. Just make it, I'm not saying make it an event game, but you're going into major college football atmosphere. Enjoy it. Enjoy going into a atmosphere that is among the best, the pinnacle of college football. Some of the conversations for the championship, you might have to go through Athens. Also from the text line, Texter says, what's your prediction for the NBA Finals? I'm going to say Oklahoma City in 5. I don't think you heard me earlier, but if you missed it, I think Oklahoma City in 6. I hope it goes at least 6. I hope the Stanley Cup goes 7, generate a little bit more interest. But I'm not a big Pacers fan to begin with, and I don't dislike Oklahoma City, but if I have to pick, I'm going to take Oklahoma City. That's probably where my interest lies a little bit more. And I'm going to say 6, just because you never know. You could have an off night. I don't think we're going to see a sweep. That'd be the worst thing that could happen for the NBA right now, to be fair about it. 6 would be better. 7 would be best. 5, that would fizzle out, I think. If you're the NBA, you're hoping for 7. If you're the NHL, you're hoping for 7. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255, our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Too many bowls. And after the college football playoff, you get the East-West Shrine Bowl, and then you get the Reese's Senior Bowl, so you get different games afterwards. But for me, I'm going to say throw in the Snoop Dogg Bowl the 27th. Bowls really don't start piquing my interest until we get to New Year's Eve. And the only game there's 2 games that interest me outside of the college football playoff quarterfinal. And that is, you guessed it, it's the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. You know, it's Tony the Tiger. It's one for the, if they would do that up right, I would Tony the Tiger that thing up completely. That'd be fun for just the kids. The youngster, you know the ones I'm talking about. The little kids, you had the fun Tony the Tiger mascot. Saturday mornings, Tony the Tiger was on my TV every single commercial break and telling me how great his cereal was, and I believed him. And then, of course, just the ultimate snack food is Cheez-Its. And Cheez-Its and citrus go well together. But those two, and they conflict time-wise, 2 and 3 o'clock. And then, of course, on the 31st, there's the Cotton Bowl to get things started. And then we go New Year's Day with the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl. And then you have the games in between with the Mayo Bowl probably being the signature bowl in between the playoffs, quarterfinal and the semifinal. But other than that, I don't know if I'm really excited. I mean, I might watch the Celebration Bowl because that has a little bit more flavor to it. And the Celebration Bowl is a meaningful game. And then it kind of starts going downhill for a while. I mean, you have to sell me on the LA Bowl. You have to sell me on the Veterans Bowl, the Cure Bowl. I mean, the brands, there's a lot of meaning between, some of the brands, and I get it. Myrtle seems to be a popular bowl because of the destination. The Potato Bowl has a little, let's be honest, who wants to go watch a football game in December in Boise? If you're in the game, I get it. If you're a school that hasn't been to a game in a while and that's your game, I get it as well. But you have a game in Boise, Idaho. Oh, hey, that's our destination. Hey, what's our bowl game this year? We're going to vacation for a few days. It's Boise, Idaho. And then you have the next night, you have the Boca Raton Bowl in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. I mean, even the New Orleans Bowl. I mean, you get to play New Orleans. And some of these are at least destinations. If the game above Sports Bowl in Detroit. Now, I'm not saying a bad thing about Detroit because for a long time, that was the place to be because that was the only opportunity you had if you were Marshall in the MAC, going to Detroit, and that's fine. But some of these destinations are really, some of these games, how many people are going to really show up to the LA Bowl in Inglewood? Honestly, is the LA Bowl hosted by Gronk really an event? It's sort of like, okay, it's that warm-up act to the warm-up act before you get the bands that are headlining. You have the headlining band, you have the feature band, and you got the bands that kind of warm everyone up before the warm up to the warm up to the warm up. It's sort of like the LA Bowl here. But at the same time, if Marshall would get into the Veterans Bowl or the Cure Bowl or the Ventures Bowl, you'd be okay with it. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, New Orleans Bowl, probably the two more desirable games for the Thundering Herd. Quick timeout. We come back and we wrap it up all in the same time here on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
No matter where you are in life, Mount West Community and Technical College isn't just about an education. It's a step toward your future. We provide the hands-on support you need with classes that fit your life. At Mount West, we know you by name because here, you're more than just a number. Mount West Community and Technical College, because you matter here. Visit mctc.edu to apply today.
Here's another Kenner Communications Community Chatter. The Huntington Region Antique Automobile Club of America holding its 24th annual Cerrito Antique Auto Show. This is going to be June 14th at the Cerrito Plaza. Registrations from 9 to noon. The fee is $10.
This Kenner Communications Community Chatter brought to you by Black Sheep Harley-Davidson. Freedom, power, and the open road are calling. Legends are built. Your dream starts here at Black Sheep Harley-Davidson. 403 4th Avenue, Huntington. Online at blacksheephd.com.
Appliances are a major part of our lives. There's no way around it. So when you're upgrading your appliances or repairing them, you need someone you can trust. You need M&K Maytag in Proctorville. M&K Maytag has been serving the Tri-State since 1982. They're locally owned and operated, so they understand your needs. They offer fast and safe delivery as well, because they know your time is valuable. If you need new appliances, parts, or service, it's M&K Maytag in Proctorville. 740-886-7795. Online at mnkmaytag.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hurt at work? Tom Boggs is here for you in Huntington, and he's brought the expertise of Warner Law Offices with him.
Call 345-6789.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Final segment for today's edition of The Drive. We appreciate all your texts this afternoon. You can also join in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter just sent me a note a couple minutes ago. Said, Paul, opening night for the Tri-State Coldcats, 6:30 p.m. against the River Riders in Tennessee. And my reply is, are you excited? Don't forget, if you want to start following the Coldcats, you can head over to the website. And it's Tri-State Coldcats. You can find it on the Appy League website as well. And you can watch the game. We've got streaming. And the cool thing about the Appalachian League is all the games are going to be streamed. And so you can watch Huntington, Tri-State, whatever you want to call us. You can watch the games. And then next week, you can listen to the games right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're going to have the home schedule of games on the radio. So if you've got a portable radio, you've got a pocket radio, you can take the game with you. You can listen. You can listen to our app as well. And for if you're at the game, I say take a radio with you. If you're somewhere else and you want to follow along and you can't necessarily listen to your radio, you can stream, and that's available at WRVC.com. Real easy to get to. You can stream. You can download our app there, and you can listen to everything right there through the app. That's probably the easiest way to go about it, and you can take it with you wherever you go. So you've got several places and several ways to follow along with the Cold Cats, and that's just the cool thing about it. But I still to this day have a pocket radio. I know I work in radio, so that makes sense, right? To have a pocket radio. But if you go on Amazon right now and just type in portable radio, you could pick up, actually I might do this myself, there's I don't know the brand, but it's like $10. It's a portable radio, AM and FM. $10, that's a pretty good deal, actually. I might be buying a radio today. That's it for this edition. You can be back with us tomorrow. We appreciate it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. You can find me on X at Paul Swann. And, of course, if you would like to listen to the show on your schedule and you can't listen every day, you can download the podcast. Available at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Have a great night, everyone. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.